but wild in a negative sense, because especially here in the Philippines, when you go through EDSA, that huge highway there, and then you cannot get through the thicket of traffic and the pollution, you feel as if, oh my goodness, how wild this is. But that's not the kind of rewilding that you intend to do. So I'm very taken by that, because it reverses the idea of wild in negative sense to make it wild in the positive sense. And I hope that your exchange of ideas will be fruitful, will be engaging, and I'm very much looking forward to proposals on how to rewild the city. We need that before it's too late. So I wish you all the best in your exchange of ideas, and I hope that we can combat this kind of difficulty in our environment, so that we can progress in our taking care of our common home. All the very best to you. Enjoy the conference, enjoy the friendships, and enjoy Ateneo de Manila and all the people that are going to receive you here for this kind of experience. Enjoy the adventure. I'd like to thank Eman De Locado and all the members of his team and all the other members of the team of Universitas Indonesia for putting together this lovely conference with an enticing theme. All the very best, and ad maiorem Dei gloriam, as we say it here in Ateneo de Manila, um, all for the glory of God. Take good care.
So thank you very much to Dr. Vilches, our Vice President for Higher Education. Sorry, in my haste, I forgot to introduce myself. So again, good afternoon. I am Gino Trinidad, currently instructor at the Department of Political Science at Ateneo de Manila University. I'll be moderating this parallel session on trends in urban sustainability. For today, we have around 5 to 6 presentations. And just a reminder, each presenter has 10 minutes to do the presentation. And after every presentation, the floor will be open to questions from the audience. We'll have around 5 minutes per presenter for the question and answer. There. We'll take a break at around 3:10. And we'll continue after 15 minutes of a break. So for today, we'll start the presentations with the first paper titled Policy Transformations, Government Management, and the Drive Towards Sustainable Urban Transportation. This will be presented by Ibu Messi Farida Hendiani, and the paper is co-authored with Sharifa Nursha Ida, Shed Anwar, Halilu Khairi, and Siti Daud from the Faculty of Government Management, Institute Pemerintahan Dalam Negeri. So without further ado, Ibu Messi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Dino, as moderator here. Good afternoon, yeah. I'd also say good afternoon to everyone who is here in Zoom meeting here. Hopefully we are all here in good condition and good health, yeah. Okay, let me share first. Okay. Okay. Before I present, let me introduce myself. My name is Messi Farida Hindiani. You can call me Messi. I am assistant professor from IPDN, Institute Pemerintahan Dalam Negeri, or in English, Institute of Home Affairs Governance. My research interest actually in public administration, governance, organization, and also human resource management in public sector. Okay, my presentation today is about policy transformations, government management, and the drive towards sustainable urban transportation. This is how the government manage the policy and also the people to make the city more sustainable, which is in urban transportation. Okay, to write this paper, this project, the others is not only me, but also there are 4 authors like Dr. Halil Khairi, Associate Professor in IPDN also Dean of Faculty of Government Management, and also Dr. Sharifah Nur Syahidah, Senior Lecturer in Faculty of Social Science and Humanities in National University of Malaysia, and also Prof. Siti Daud, Professor at the Research Center for History, Politics, and International Affairs from National University of Malaysia also, and Dr. Abdul Muin Abadi, Senior Lecturer also in National University of Malaysia. Research interest of us is not different much, yeah. Still the same, in the same range. About presentation outline, I'll talk about introduction and then what the government has done. Like in Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, we put these cities as the sample, and then the challenges that have in Jakarta and also Kuala Lumpur, and also the last one, the recommendation. About introduction, this study underscores the crucial role of proactive governance in advancing sustainable transportation initiative, leading to positive outcomes for both environmental objectives and also societal welfare, not only about environment, but also about the society welfare. It comes from the smart city development plan that they have, Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur. They have 7 criteria about smart city. The second criteria that the second criteria are smart environment and smart mobility, which is what is it? Which is compatible for the sustainable city. And also the second one, the government function in delivering service, empowering society, and developing city and country. As we know that government function is very crucial to motor the biggest organization in the country, so that we can share and research about this. And also the high pollution in those cities, Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, it also related to how the cities can be sustainable in the future, more sustainable. And also people tend to choose their own vehicles than public transportation. Yeah, we have this data about people tend to choose their own vehicles, and then the trading of vehicles in Jakarta and also Kuala Lumpur is higher year by year. So it is a problem to be especially for the cities. And then what the government has done, they have actually strategic plan and also regulation and also concerning on public transportation. About strategic plan, the Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur have smart city framework, and then in Kuala Lumpur, in addition, it has low carbon mobility blueprint from 2021 to 2030. Well, it is a very strategic plan for Malaysia to make the city more sustainable. And then the regulation that government made, for example, in Jakarta, chip tax policy for electric cars to reduce pollution, and then vehicle restriction policy according to odd even license plates, and then strict control of gasoline prices, and then the last one, moving capital city to Nusantara. Uh, it's hot topic to decrease number of people in Jakarta that over capacity. In Jakarta has several regulations. However, in Kuala Lumpur, it only has encouragement, not much policy about uh, this plan to make the city more sustainable. And then about public transportation, government has managed public transport facilities like electric bus for public transportation managed by government-linked company PT Transjakarta to reduce pollution and also emission, and also how to move people from using or driving their vehicle to public transportation. And then the second one, implementation of railways, public transportation facilities, such as electrical rail trains, and also LRT and MRT. It is the same with Malaysia, especially in Kuala Lumpur. And then the last one for public transportation, the government concern of produce electric vehicles to reduce emission. Yeah, to boost number of electric vehicles, especially electric bus, electric public transportation to make it more sustainable. And then also same with Malaysia. We can see um, such as public transportation uses electricity. It is actually the purpose is to make the pollution lower, and then also to make the city more smarter in environment, also smarter mobility. However, this kind of innovation has several challenges. Case in Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, it has technical issues like expensive investment in electric transportation facilities. Yeah, according to the data about Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta, they have cases or problem in investment in electric transportation because it's still expensive cost. And then limited charging facilities, of course, because the electric transportation is still low number in those cities. And then getting mechanics who are expert in electric bus repairs still strict, yeah, because of this is new innovation, yeah, electric vehicle technology in especially in Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur. They are prone to errors in there. And then how about the public facilities? Yeah, as I said before, like number of electric bus, even though rise in number every year, both in Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, they have strategy to make it high the number of electric bus to make people more comfortable and move smoothly to use public transport in the future. And then about energy resources, yeah, this is the big challenge, especially because Indonesian power generation is heavily dependent on fossil fuels, with coal generating most of the country's electricity. It is unrenewable sources, and it's also dangerous for the environment. This is the challenge also used from our vehicle with fuel to electric vehicle, but the resource of electricity is still from fuels. It's not sustainable or continuity-nya is still low, yeah. And then As of 2030, same with Malaysia's electricity production is predominantly reliant on fossil fuels, accounting for more than 80% of the total generation. This is the issues, and then the recommendation from us to make regulation management more strict and more clearer. I mean, it is necessary to implement regulations strictly because Jakarta has several regulations more than Kuala Lumpur, as well as clear reward and punishment scheme. And how about Kuala Lumpur to create regulations gitu ya? And because the policy is still lack of policy, only encouragement, and encouragement is not strictly move people in that city to move. And then it is important to make regulation of using renewable source to produce electricity and to use unrenewable one from fossil fuels, for example, to wind or to water to produce electricity, for example. Same with Kuala Lumpur because it has same case. How about the collaboration? To educate people in those cities, collaboration is needed not only state in document, but also control the implementation among government, private sector, academic institution, citizens, and mass media is if it's very, very needed. And then how about the budgeting? The recommendation increase national and regional budget in improving public transport facilities that use eco-friendly principles. Yeah, it has still expensive budget, expensive cost, yeah, to serve public service facilitation like public transport, but there is also increase the cost from the government to or the budget to improve the public transport facilities. Because it's only 10 minutes actually, I still apa ya, I want to describe more gitu, but I think it's enough from me. Thank you very much for having me. With collaboration among government, academia, citizen, private sector, let's make improvement to make our city more sustainable so that our environment greener while there. Starting from now, starting from ourselves, starting from small things. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dino.
Thank you, Ibu Messi. Now the floor is open for questions. I think you can unmute yourself if you have questions, or you can also type it in our chat. We have 5 minutes for the Q&A. Okay, so maybe I will begin as a moderator. I think that's my role. Ibu, you mentioned Kuala Lumpur relies on encouragement very much in terms of its regulation. And it also figured in the recommendations that hopefully Kuala Lumpur institutes more stricter or a more strict regulation. My question is simply, what explains that? Why does Kuala Lumpur, or what might explain why Kuala Lumpur relies more on encouragement rather than really pushing for immediately, rather immediately, like Jakarta, stricter regulations?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Dino. Yeah, actually, the policy we can see clearly in Jakarta. There are so many, so it can it will depend on the control of the government. However, in the Kuala Lumpur, they also have and they only have encouragement to push people, to make people feel free to choose, still still drive their vehicle or move rapidly to what is it, public transportation. So yeah, it is according to interview and also data from uh, in Malaysia. The policy should be more because we nowadays the citizen not only aware about the encouragement, something like that, or announcement, but nowadays human still will fear of the policy, the law, like that, so that it's very needed to make a policy about that. Thank you. Hopefully you can answer. And also I apologize about the time limit. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
No problem, Ibu. We have fewer presenters for this panel, so we can allow for around 2 minutes of extension. Thank you for your answer as well about my question concerning the reasons why possibly Kuala Lumpur relies more on encouragement. Thank you. Amanda is raising their hand, please.
Hello, I'm so sorry if it's a bit loud. Can you hear me? Okay, amazing. Oh my God. Thank you so much for your presentation. I actually was really interested in this because I know someone who works in Jakarta, a family member who works in Jakarta, who specifically in renewable energy. So I was, I hear a lot from him, and he specifically works more on geothermal renewable energy. So that's more of my question. Since you focused more a little bit on transportation, what do you think are the other ways of how they try to make a smart, quote unquote, smart city in Jakarta or also Kuala Lumpur that focus more on renewable energy? I'm just a bit curious. Thank you.
Welcome. Renewable energy. Yeah, that's uh interesting. How about when waste management? We do have, especially in Indonesia, have energy produced by waste, but it's still a limited number. And then yeah, to make it more sustainable, it is also needed the collaboration from the academia and also the private sector. We need innovation. The government need innovation from them to what is it, to make a new what is it, source of renewable energy.
Thank you. That was really interesting.
Okay. So thank you, Ibu Messi. Thank you as well, Amanda, for that question. One big, maybe virtual round of applause for Ibu Messi for her presentation, please, before we move on to the next presenter. Thank you. So we have a slight change in the order of presenters, presentation. Thank you, Ms. Zhang, for accommodating the change. No? So we now call on the paper presenters of Tara Atenista, a cultural organization approach on LS or Loyola Schools Ateneo Commute Culture, as seen on the Biyaheng Ateneo Commuters Facebook group. This will be presented by Miss Maxine Ann Cuartero, and co-written with Miss Francis Gail Macam, Department of Communication, Ateneo de Manila University. You have 10 minutes to present. Take it away. Thank you.
Gail, are you there?
Hello.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello?
Yes, you're heard.
Hello? Oh, hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. We are here today to dive into our study, Tara Atenista Organization Approach on LS Ateneo, Loyola Schools Ateneo Commute Culture, as seen on Biyaheng Ateneo Commute. It's already a known fact in the Philippines that Katipunan Avenue is a commuter's hell. In fact, Ateneo de Manila contributes 20% to the traffic congestion in the avenue, causing delays for anyone who attempts to use the road to get to and out of the C5 road. With this ongoing mobility crisis, Ateneans and personalities like Walden Bello have shared their sentiments on social media platforms like Facebook, all of which point to how inconvenient it is to travel along Katipunan and inside the Ateneo premises due to the lack of coordination among the admin, enforcers, and drivers on campus. As seen in the slide presented, Facebook is the most used platform where people usually talk about mobility problems in and outside of Ateneo de Manila University. For the traffic crisis, hello? So the traffic crisis is not a new issue within Ateneo. In fact, the university administration has already attempted to alleviate it through the formation of different authority groups like Ateneo Traffic Group, Campus Safety and Mobility Office, and now the Campus Mobility Forum. There were also external mobility advocate groups who proposed improvements to the university, which unfortunately did not bear any fruit. Now, the communication gap found in solutions like these and other issues tackling traffic is how Ateneo commuters are underrepresented in the discussion of campus mobility. Therefore, there is no avenue for them to contextualize their experiences and make it more visible to outsiders. They find it difficult to engage in consistent, fruitful discussions because of the top down approach of communication implemented by the university.
Now, it is important to highlight that mobility is a multidisciplinary and complex issue. Commute in the context of this thesis is defined as the travel between one's house and workplace regularly. This thesis focuses on the communication aspect, which allows the observance of the stakeholders' group dynamics and conversations within a community like Biyaheng Ateneo towards Ateneo commuters and how they organize themselves as a community amid pre-existing commute conditions. Thus, an organizational communication lens is crucial in initiating conversations and interactions among the commuters. Observing and participating in the FE group allows us to interpret stories told and contribute to the organization of the Ateneo commute culture. Necessary to bring changes, such as in policy and infrastructure, is to bring in local voices as we plan for and with the community. With that in mind, it brings us the research question: how do the systems of shared meanings and experiences of the members of Biyaheng Ateneo Commuters Facebook group contribute to the organization of the Ateneo commute culture? To our thesis, we aim to write a cultural organization approach to the Ateneo commute culture, identify systems of shared meanings through content analysis of posts, interviews, and explicate commute experiences of members through their participation and engagement in Biyaheng Ateneo. Not sure if Gail is still here, but if not, I'll continue first with the next slide. Gail. Okay, I think she lost connection. So in order to drive the research, we used Geertz and Pachanowski's cultural approach to organizations theory to discover the systems of shared meanings found within Biyaheng Ateneo and how these contribute to the organization of Ateneo commute culture. Borrowed four main concepts of the theory: metaphor, collegial stories, personal stories, and rituals to look into the narratives found within the group. These four concepts were operationalized as they became our code for data analysis. Through this theory, we were able to unearth the different contexts of Ateneans and how these influence their interaction with other members of Biyaheng Ateneo. Okay. Are you back, Gail? I'll continue first and then
Hello?
I'll hand it back.
Sorry, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Okay,
Okay.
sure.
So now, in order to operationalize the framework, we use the qualitative research under the constructivist paradigm, meaning that we focus more on the depth of the data than its general breadth. So this is our methodology: qualitative, constructivist, content analysis, and interviews. Here we use multiple methods wherein content analysis and interview were done simultaneously. Then posts with a total of 106 comments were chosen according to the number of posts reached and level of engagements from the groups that were from distinct categories of topics. The 12 interviews were chosen on a sign-up basis. And through this content analysis, we conducted it to look into the interactions of members in an online environment. So this provided more context on the exchanges that people were having on a daily basis. And for in-depth interviews, it was done simultaneously to gain more context about their personal experiences that we couldn't necessarily share online on the get-go, through comments, through posts. So the first part of the interview asked participants about their commute experiences in relation but not limited to the map that they have drawn. So how do you get from your house to school? How do you get home? There are different modes of transportation when it comes to these things. And then the second half of the interview asked about their experience in the group. And yes, participants were asked to make a map just to externalize the ideas that they have from their mind towards these certain areas and the commute conditions that they have. So in a way, it was a bottom-up approach that allowed them to exercise their agency in the spaces they occupy. Back to you, Gail.
Okay, so apologies again. My internet connection was unstable. Going back, after analyzing the data, we were able to come up with three emerging themes. First, it was coming to terms with the in-betweens of privilege speaks about how the participants recognize their privilege over other commuters as they either one, live close to the university, two, have other means of transportation when necessary, and three, are knowledgeable about the commute landscape of the city. More so, they expressed how they make use of these privileges in order to aid and inform other members of the group about the how-tos of commuting, pushing for a friendlier and more positive environment within the Facebook group Biyaheng Ateneo.
And then second, members' resilience in their daily commute led them to become tolerant of commute conditions and thus maintaining the commute landscape status quo. Because of their need for survival, their posts and comments to each other were relative to their knowledge and experiences about themselves and other people. Suggestions to alleviate fellow commuters' feeling of helplessness were measures that simply remained in their personal sphere, so little to no engagement was seen to organize, express dissent, and lobby for changes in the group. So prompts or questions like, oh, how do you bike more safely? Like use this kind of shoes, or um how do you keep yourself safe? Basically on a personal level. So no significant reforms have been made on the community and institutional level. So the Ateneo community has to deal with their resiliency alone. Commuters then end up allowing traffic congestion and other mobility issues to persist because of the need to get to school and go home on a daily basis.
Finally, the data led us to the last theme of belonging in a community of care and its potential to initiate change. This theme really portrays the members' appreciation for the Ateneo commute culture. Uh, its appreciation, sorry, um, for the at hello for the Ateneo commute culture and Biyaheng Ateneo as a community of care where they can ask about commute tips and routes without being shamed for not knowing better. More so, they found the group helpful when it comes to convening Ateneo commuters in one space to get to know more about each other, as well as events or issues that concern their sector. So now, instead of just purely tolerance, a community of care like this now drives members to join potential movements toward positive change as people begin to organize from the grassroots and stand in solidarity with each other. So, in conclusion, having a community of care like Biyaheng Ateneo contributes to a more visible Ateneo commute culture as it gathers the Ateneo community, in a space where they can convene, converse, and even collaborate about their shared and personal commute experiences, which in the future can be the basis for better mobility policies.
I think we can wrap up from there since I think we reached the 10 minutes. But of course, during the Q&A, we can introduce more of our perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maxine and Gail. So we open the floor for questions from the audience. Again, we have 5 minutes for the Q&A. So again, you can raise your hand, unmute yourself, type in the chat your question.
And before we get any questions, if ever anyone's gonna ask, we also have a QR here and the link of the Facebook group that we have. Currently, the org that is handling it, it's called Blue Mobility, is still in its transition period. But if you're from the Ateneo community, whether you're an alumni, a professor, just any member of the community, students, staff, non-teaching personnel, you can access the Facebook group here and you can always contact us for any questions about it.
Thank you for that clarification, Maxine. Yes, please, Gail. Thank you. Sige, maybe I'll start again. Very interesting research concerning commuting culture. And just one question, really. When you mentioned belonging in a community of care, I got a sense that it's more of student-led initiatives, run initiatives. No, were there instances maybe from the interviews, no, or maybe from your interactions with the group, no, were there instances wherein there are some interactions with, say, administrators, no, and even faculty, or maybe since the goal is to also somehow amplify, so quote unquote higher ups, no, so were there, was that part, no, of or is there some plan, no, or at least did that come up also with the data, from in the data, sorry.
Definitely from interviews, there are a lot of sentiments wherein members were telling us that they want it to be something that's also beyond this, that's bigger than what we currently have so far. But I think there's also quite a common understanding that it's not easy because until now we're still dealing with the long-standing problem of traffic. And I guess just to open also another idea, there was this group called Campus Mobility Forum, which was admin-led. So I think from there we were able to gain perspectives from um, how we observe the community so far in the group, and definitely we'd want to integrate it with um, admin-led initiatives in a way that we collaborate and also recognize each and every one as part of the solution, even if we might have like different standpoints from time to time, different needs about what we think is the best for the community. But yes, at the end of the day, definitely it has come into our minds that we want to become more recognized by the admin, to have more legitimacy in a way that we can help each other um inform each other with the initiatives that we have. Okay.
Hello. Thank you
Yes,
for
please,
that
Gail.
question. In addition to what Max has already said, and basing it on our data during the study, we were actually able to get some interviewees who are from the faculty, the LS faculty, and even one from an office that is also located inside Ateneo de Manila University. And both of them share the sentiments that they did wish that some of the initiatives could be expanded to not only the LS community but as well as the grade school, the high school. And I know that this is still just the beginning of the basically just the foundation of creating such a community of care. So however, we found in the interviews and the data that there is really a desire for commuters in Ateneo to really be able to convene and share their stories, share potential initiatives so that they can be collectively be heard by the administration. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
So yeah, there's this still that challenge, right, of being heard by the administration. at least in the university. I think we have room for one more question from the audience. Okay, going once, twice. Okay. So again, thank you very much, Maxine and Gail, for that presentation. A big, warm applause, virtual applause no, for our presenters for Tara Atenista, commute culture, Ateneo commute culture. Thank you again, Maxine and Gail. So we move on now to our third presenter. The paper is titled Risks and Mitigation Strategies for Motorcycle Commuting in Southeast Asia. Very much connected with our first, with our second presenter, presentation. This will be presented by Ms. Zhang Liu of the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. Ms. Zhang, you have 10 minutes. I'll prompt you through the direct message in Zoom for your time. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, wait. Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zhang. And I'm from the Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. Bike snakes their way slow, they move faster than large traffic, and also easier to find. Motorbike are the main means of communicating in South Asia, getting widespread popularity due to their low cost and convenience. Next. However, motorcycle communicating poses significant safety challenges. Speeding, drunk driving, and not wear helmet are major safety concerns. In South Asia, over 15% of traffic accidents are related to speeding. Helmet wearing rates are below 16%, leading to a high incidence of head injuries. And drunk driving, in some countries, drunk driving accounts for up to 30% of accidents. So, the research objective is this study aims to analyze a large number of motorcycle traffic accident factors, identify the factors that cause traffic accidents in different countries and regions in South Asia, the proposed solution to their cases, thereby reducing the probability of traffic accidents. Next research method. The scope of this study focuses on Southeast Asia countries where motorcycle usage is prevalent, including select urban areas in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. And the next case study, through the analysis of more than 12,000 traffic accident cases in 3 countries from 2019 to 2022. The factors that have the greatest impact on traffic accidents are analyzed. The next is the model. I used a component analyze and cluster analyze. Firstly, the principal component analyze, a dimensionality reduction technique that maps high-dimensional data into a low-dimensional space, retain essential information by identifying direction with the greatest principal components. We will check it into these principal components. Next is cluster analyze. A supervised learning method that divides datasets samples into distinguished groups or clusters. Maximum simulates with the same cluster and minimums simulates between different clusters. Common cluster algorithms, including k-means and hierarchical clustering. And the last is application. I use PCA to reduce the dimensionality of accident data extracting main inference factors, for example, time, location, speeding. And after that, I apply cluster analyze to categorize accident into groups, for example, high risks and low risks for better to understanding help in implementing target safety measures for different type of accidents. So this is our dates. This is This is the load date. In the load dates, we can see the accident type and time and location, speeding, drunk driving, helmet wear, nighttime accident, peak hours. For some reason, the complete data has not been released yet, so here is part of it. Through sorry. After process three main countries, we can see the Malaysia has highest speeding related accident rate is 55%. And we can see the Indonesia have the highest lifetime accident rate is 45%. In the Thailand, and in the in the Thailand, we can see the Thailand here is the drunk driving related accident rate is 14%. Okay, next. Oh, sorry. The next. So we can find findings. Malaysia spending is the primary cases of accidents with rate significant increases drunken peaking hours. And Indonesia traffic accident rates are higher at night. Thailand culture factors significantly influences traffic behavior, with drunk driving being particular prevalent. Next. So what the strategies can be used to mitigate the following method. First is place interventions, sectors, improvements, and either public.
Ms. Shang, maybe you can turn off your video
Okay.
while presenting. I think you were lagging but you still have time to finish the presentation, around 3 minutes. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Mm. Hello. Can you see my
Yes, it's visible,
screen?
but yeah, the slides are visible, but maybe you can turn off your video so that please your camera, that is, so we can, maybe the bandwidth is having difficulty. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So um, Um, so what strategies can be used? The following method. First is policy interventions, implement and enforcing stress traffic regulations. And the second is infrastructure improvements at this the sorry at dedicated motorcycle lanes and traffic scenes and improve road conditions. The last is public awareness campaigns. Campaigns enhance traffic safety education and increase public awareness of safety issue. The next is my conclusion. This research indicated that motorcycle communicating in South Asia faces agents can effectively this issue. Operative efforts are needed to improve motorcycle communicating safety in South Asia. Moreover, traffic safety in different countries is influenced by varying factors. Governments in each country need to tailor their approaches to local conditions and implement different processes to effective communicating safety. So this is my reference. And so thank you. That's all. Thank you for your listening and like to answer any question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zhang. We now open the floor for questions from the audience. Again, you can raise your hand or type in your questions or your comments in the chat we have. Okay. Okay, so maybe I begin again. Ms. Zhang, thank you very much for a very interesting and at the same time relevant paper concerning motorcycle commuting in Southeast Asia. In the past few years, really also in the Philippines, it has become uh, um, some way of really commuting, especially because of the vehicular traffic in the Philippines even. My question really is just concerning the observation about Thailand. Thailand, it's mentioned there, the cultural factors significantly influence traffic behavior. Would you have some more specific, maybe, no, or more specific or more pointed policy recommendations on how to or how can it be possibly addressed that cultural factors that facilitate or lead to traffic behavior that causes some accidents, no, in Thailand. So that's my question. Amongst the policy recommendations mentioned, um, what would what among them might be directly addressing the cultural factors, no, especially in Thailand? I hope I got um done. Yes, Miss
Um,
Zhang?
Yeah, I think the Thailand cultural acceptance of drinking, especially during social and cultural events, this is well documented. which largely contributed to the high incidence of drinking driving. So I think the effective of the safety measure should depend on the local condition and the adjustment based on real-time data will be crucial to ensure these strategies achieve their intended outcomes. So for the policies, I think we should depend on the talent data. Yeah. Thank you for the country. Sorry. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Ms. Zhang. Yeah, definitely data will help. And at the same time, maybe some governance mechanisms involving the local government will definitely help, especially given that the battle is at the cultural front. It's something institutional or institutionalized, something accepted or acceptable for most of people in Thailand, that is. Questions from the audience? Okay. Yes, Ibu Messi, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gino. Hello, Zhang Yu, Miss Zhang, yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah, I'd like it's very interesting because the safety in the road on the road is very important. Yeah, and the recommendation you said about collaboration, with whom collaboration is a very needed, very specific to make the what is it, the accident lower and lower in the three countries, as you said. Thank you.
I think we just improve improve infrastructure with dedicated lands and enhancing public awareness. These measures can address the special challenges identified in this in South Asia country, and I think a motorcycle accidents have brought social and economical impacts, including health care costs and loss of productivity. Addressing this issue not only improves safety but also reduce the economic burden on society. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Messi. Thank you, Ms. Zhang. Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Okay. Okay, so it's 3:10 Philippine Standard Time. First round of virtual applause for Ms. Zhang for her presentation. So it's 3:10 Philippine Standard Time. We can take a 10-minute break. So let's have a 10-minute break and we can go back. We resume our presentations at 3:20 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. So thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. It's already 3:20. Um, so maybe we can resume our presentations. But before that, we have a video to be played concerning the IG Reels competition, competition by the AUN-EEC and UC. Video, please.
Hey, what's up? Where are we? Where are we? We are at Rifle Range Nature Park in Singapore. Formerly a mining site, it has since been rewilded and is now part of a network of ecological corridors to connect wildlife, habitats, and people. It is also one of the few remaining places in the world where you can hear the beautiful birdsong of the straw-headed bulbul. Rifle Range is a conservation project that has immense value to Singapore residents as a place to unwind, relax, and exercise like I'm supposed to be doing now. Who are you? Who am I? My name's Joshua, and I am co-president of the Young Urbanists of Southeast Asia. Now, let me ask you a question, okay? Imagine your city rewilded. What would that look like? A design project, science-based policies, community programs and education. How would that make a better future for us, for our flora and fauna friends, and for the planet? In partnership with the ASEAN University Network on Ecological Education and Culture, or AUN-EEC, we are proud to launch the hashtag Rewilding the City Instagram Reels contest. In 1 minute, tell us how your city could look like rewilded. Be creative with how you tell your story. Live drawing, photo montage, animation, even a song and dance routine, as long as it's original content. Tag UC and AUN-EEC in your post and use these hashtags to qualify.
What's that on your collar?
Oh, this microphone? I don't know, I just wear it, like, totally not staged. Haha.
And there you have it, an invitation to join the Instagram Reels competition. Very interesting prompt there. How do you imagine your city rewilded? So hopefully you can join the competition, especially now that or most of us are in Instagram. So I think it's a one way really to amplify the message and the theme as well of our conference. So let's now have our, I think, last two presenters for this session. We now call on Mr. Ivan C. Palarao to present his paper titled Philippine Upland Resource Valuation, a review on the existing valuation methods and techniques applied in upland resources. Now, Mr. Ivan C. Palarao is from the Mathematics and Natural Sciences Department, College of Arts and Sciences of the Bohol Island State University. So again, Mr. Palarao, I'll give you 10 minutes to present. I'll prompt you about the time remaining through the private messaging in the Zoom application. Mr. Ivan?
Okay, duly noted. Allow me to share my presentation. Wait. Okay. The core aspiration of sustainable development is development of present generation without compromising the future. Achieving these aspirations is in confluence with the dimension of sustainable development, social inclusivity, economic stability, and environmental sustainability. Resource valuation, a tool that puts environmental resources into pedestal where these resources are valued based on their significance. Hence, valuing resources is imperative to achieve cohesive development leading to sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me introduce myself first. Once again, I am Ivan C. Plarao from Bohol Island State University, an instructor from the College of Arts and Sciences under the Mathematics and Natural Sciences Department. So let's begin with my introduction. So for the introduction, our planet has plethora of resources and is filled with various and multitude of resources that inspired and caught our attention. These natural resources are the blood of our economy and so as an imperative of our very own existence as a human civilization. So resources are categorized into two categories based on their strategic geographical positioning, the lowland and the upland resources. And in the Philippines is among the Southeast Asian countries where vast array of upland resources are present. The country is composed of uplands and forest land that accounts 50% of 30 million hectares of land. And according to estimate, 24 million people, which accounts third of the entire Philippine population, are living in upland areas, and 6 million of these lands are utilized agriculturally, usually by some indigenous people who are considered to be as marginalized. So the implication of this utilization of land is that it will lead to environmental degradation, specifically into the upland resources. So contemporarily, we have the sustainable development goals that would somehow combat these problems that existed. So we have sustainable development goals number 11, 12, and 15. So for sustainable development goals number 11, it corresponds to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. And we also have sustainable development goals number 12, which corresponds to the responsible consumption and production, and 15 for life on land. So these three sustainable development goals come together in order to have an effect in terms of efficient resource utilization, leading to sustainable communities and cities, not just here in the Philippines, but all throughout the world. So to address this kind of problem in terms of resource fluctuation, specifically the upland resources, we have the resource valuation or resource valuing. So valuing resources would be an ideal method to ensure the perpetual existence of certain resource. So the focus of this paper or review is the upland resources. So contemporarily, multitude of resource valuation methods and techniques present in the meantime. And this paper only assess assess a specific valuation method that is used across different sites that would somehow help in building, or that would somehow select a method that is tailored fit for the Philippine setting. So next we have the statement of the problem. So the main purpose of this review is to assess the existing valuation methods and techniques of upland resources in the Philippines, specifically in terms of, first, we have the availability of data and its practicality. So when we talk about the availability of data, this pertains to vast literatures or resources that would somehow support this kind of method. And in terms of practicality, this pertains to we have the tailored fit, if this kind of method can be applied across different upland resources. Next, we have the methodology. So tabulation and analysis of different websites and journal until point of saturation is achieved. So the definition of point of saturation is anchored to the definition of Saunders. Next, we have results and discussion. Across surveyed literatures or journals and websites, it revealed that first we have this resources valued. It revealed that water resources is found to be the most valued resources across journals and websites, followed by the forest resources. For valuation method, we have the contingent valuation method, or CVM, is considered to be the most pervasive valuation method across literatures, followed by cost benefit analysis or economic valuation using cost benefit analysis. We had the market-based valuation methods, and so we have the hedonic pricing method. Okay. Once again, water resources are among the resources that are mainly valued across articles and websites. And in terms of valuation method, it is the continued valuation method. So further, CVM is the most pervasive across journal and websites. In terms of availability of data and practicality, CVM has diverse data and it is applied to a wide range of resources, and it is practical as it allows citizens to be part of the movement of resource valuation. However, precaution must be achieved in terms of creating hypothetical scenarios that will serve as a reference of the residents' willingness to pay. So to note that a study or an article published by the Food and Agricultural Organization, it found out that sometimes when we use the CVM or the continued valuation method, it is somehow shadowed by some biases of the respondents. It's because the reference of the willingness to pay of the resident is based on we have the hypothetical scenarios. So these hypothetical scenarios, once crafted erroneously, it would somehow resonate to the result of their, somehow resonate to the amount on how much you are willing to give up just to, let's say, rehabilitate that kind of resources. Specifically, the non-marketable significance of that product or that resource. So for the conclusion, CVM can be an efficient tool for valuing up resources in the Philippines, given that the data about this method is vast and applied to various resources. It can be an ideal tool that would provide comprehensive valuation as it allows the people to be part of the valuation process. However, precaution of the realization of the results must be considered as it is a product of responses drawn from hypothetical scenarios. So together, just put the aspiration of sustainable development goals at the center of resource valuation to ensure its perpetual existence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Palarao.
Yes, sir.
So we now open the floor for questions, or maybe comments as well about Mr. Palarao's presentation, his paper on upland resource valuation. So again, I might have to start.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Palarao, very interesting paper, especially that which concerns valuation of resources. At the end of the day, we have to have some value or put some value on the resources. And most of these resources, we know sometimes, again, the values are differing. And you mentioned that CVM, based on your review, a thorough review, has been the most pervasive across the journals and the websites. My first question is if you have some idea, maybe, no, or maybe you've encountered this as well in your research, no? Is this also the way resource valuation is being done, or at least there's also that sense that this is, if not most pervasive, at least very much used as well by, authorities like government agencies or even local governments, no? When they begin talking about resource valuation? That's my first question.
Okay. Technically, the CVM is more on a conversational type of assessing the individual's willingness to pay out of that certain non-marketable product. So, during my thorough analysis or reading, I found out that CVM is considered to be as the most pervasive. It's because most of the article or most of the policies anchored to this kind of method, it's because it's more on the citizen science or the ideas of the citizen and how much you are willing to give out of that certain scenario. So yes, given that there are different kinds of valuation method, but the CVM is one of the most applicable method. We have the hedonic and such, but CVM, it allows the people to be what do you call that, to be part of the process of decision making. And once this method arrives, using this method and arrives a result that is compelling or somehow significant, then it can be used as a policy or basis of policy in terms of valuing resources that would somehow what do you call that would somehow value the resources in the long run. This is, sir.
Okay, thank you. But maybe the question also is, will CVM be somehow of a standard policy of valuating resources, no, for government, for example, no, or for the local governments, of course, no.
Okay.
Will this be so to say the go-to or
Okay.
the standard valuation method? Is there a potential for that?
Uh, in my own I can say that it can be used as that kind of tool to value resources. However, we also have the hedonic pricing method. And I can say that hedonic and the CVM can jive together in valuing resources. But based on what I have read, they usually use the CVM. But in my own understanding, because I have some courses, I have a course in economics mm, as of the moment, then I can say that this is not a standard tool, but this can be used in partner with another tool. Let's say we have the hedonic pricing, hedonic method. That I guess I answer your question, sir.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Mhm.
So there's promise of multi approach,
Yes, that
uh,
multidimensional approach.
multidimensional approach, no?
Mm.
So that can be part of a policy toolkit eventually for local governments and maybe the national government in um, conducting a valuation. Before I ask my second question,
Okay.
questions from the audience. Yes, Mark, please.
Hi, sir. So, question, sorry po, nagpo kasi Siri bigla. So my question po is, how do you think it will affect uh, yung method and yung number one ranked resources if hindi po sa upland yung tinitignan? And can there be a way to like to standardize the to value resources across all types of land like coastal, upland, lowlands, midlands, and other than that? Yun po.
Okay. Actually, sir, CVM is just only it's not just applicable only to water resources. It can be used in different types of resources present in the meantime. And the thing is that this kind of method is somehow, let's say, universal. And it can be used into different, it could be used for the coast valuation, evaluating coastal resources, terrestrial, and so on and so forth. And and the thing is that during my literature survey, mostly of the paper they usually use CVM in valuing the non-marketable use of water. And I guess that would somehow resonate to your question. It's because, let's say, it's somehow being isolated. This kind of method is somehow isolated only to the water noser. It can be used into wide array of resources, not just for water, but to any resources present in our planet. I hope I answered your question.
Mark. Um,
Yes po. Okay
okay.
naman po. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Mark. So maybe just a final question, no, for me, from me, no. You also mentioned the caveat about CVM, so it's very interesting to the extent that it allows citizens to be part of the valuation process. But you mentioned a caveat, no, because usually it's conducted with hypothetical scenarios or hypotheticals in general. Um, would you have some recommendations on how to make CVM, therefore, as a process, no, for lack of a better way to put it, more attuned to um, to reality, and not really fall prey into um, maybe overvaluing or even undervaluing, depending on the hypotheticals.
Okay. Since for me, I would rather say that when we employ CVM in valuation process, the hypotheticals are already embedded in the term itself. But for me, it is imperative that we need to make a hypothetical scenario that is considered to be as near real life happenings. It's because if we put something that is already realistic, and given that the problem of, let's say, pollution in our country or a certain area, if we put value to it, it costs thousands. And people would somehow say that, why would I give up this kind of amount just to rehabilitate this one? We have government and such, but we have this inclusivity, we have the multidimensional approach. So maybe we can just uh focus more on the hypothetical that is somehow realistic, but not that too overwhelming to the respondents, for them to provide more compelling, substantial responses that can be used in crafting policies or making laws that would somehow be instituted soon and then be implemented in order to address this kind of problem, let's say pollution, deforestation, and such.
Yeah, so it's still very much data informed.
Yes.
Hypotheticals, yes, but definitely there's a space now to make it data informed.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Palarao. Again, maybe one room for one more question, if there is a question from the audience. Okay. So again, warm virtual round of applause for Mr. Palarao for his presentation. Definitely something to think about. Valuation, of course, upland resources, but also very much in the urban spaces, very much, especially along the lines of informal settlements, that might give us some insight as well on how to deal with valuating these settlements. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Palarao. We now move to the last but not the least presenter. For today, the paper is titled Gabaldon School Buildings Towards Human Development, Human Ecological Perspectives. The presentation will be delivered through a recorded or pre-recorded video by Dr. Inero Ancho, but he is here, I think, to address questions after the presentation. The paper is co-authored with I think this is Miss Elijah Andrea Hironella, Miss Danica J. Sagun, and Mr. Mark Ivan Mendres. They are of the Department of Human and Family Development Studies, College of Human Ecology, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So Chris, Mark will play the presentation. Okay.
Magandang araw. Thank you for the opportunity to present our work. I am Inero Ancho, and with me today are Elijah Andrea Hironella, Danica J. Sagun, and Mark Ivan Mendres. We are from the Department of Human and Family Development Studies, College of Human Ecology, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. With the presentation titled Gabaldon School Buildings Towards Human Development, Human Ecological Perspectives, the present study looks at the potential of Philippines Gabaldon School Buildings as a pedagogical space and entity in the light of Republic Act 11194. The Philippines Gabaldon School Buildings, or GSBs, are structures erected in public school system built in the early 1900s. These school buildings present the grand architectural heritage and historical narrative of the Filipino people. While some of these GSPs can still be found across the Philippines, some face deterioration and demise. To address this, former President Duterte signed into law the Republic Act 11194, or the Gabaldon School Buildings Conservation Act, which mandates to conserve and promote the country's historical and cultural heritage resources. GSBs, as a core element of the public school system, can be found in cities and rural areas in the Philippines. As a pedagogical space, GSBs' grand structure and cultural impact contributes to potentially complement classroom learning. Both formal and informal learning and student activities can be accommodated in these spaces. Aside from its pedagogical contributions, GSPs could also contribute to sustainability efforts in promoting tourism at the local and national levels. The present study seeks to highlight GSPs as a pedagogical space. These buildings are treated as a spatial entity, as locus for informal teaching and learning and activities of student organizations. The study employed qualitative method, particularly document analysis. With the GSBs as focus, the analyzed and interpreted data have been sourced from Republic Act 11194, the Gabaldon School Buildings Conservation Act. The proponents of the study have scrutinized the GSB setup and current education landscape and practices vis-a-vis teaching and learning and student activities.
The first theme is about the Gabaldon School buildings as a profound reflection of Filipino identity. These buildings, built during the American colonial period, are more than just educational facilities. They are enduring symbols of our nation's rich cultural heritage and resilient spirit. The GSBs, with their neoclassical design and robust construction, stand as a testament to the architectural brilliance and cultural foresight of our ancestors. Their grand structure, characterized by high ceilings, wide windows, and spacious classrooms, was designed not only for durability, but also to create an environment conducive to learning. This architectural elegance mirrors the ingenuity and adaptability of the Filipino people. Beyond their structural beauty, Gabaldon buildings are living narratives of our history. They have witnessed and withstood the tests of time, serving as silent witnesses to the educational and social transformations of our country. These buildings have been integral in shaping the minds and futures of countless Filipino students, embodying the nation's commitment to accessible and quality education for all. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the significance of these structures extended further. They provided safe spaces for communities, ensuring adherence to health protocols and supporting the well-being of individuals. This highlights the Gabaldon Building's role in promoting community solidarity and resilience, which are crucial aspects of our cultural identity. Moreover, Gabaldon buildings play a vital role in sustainable tourism and cultural preservation. By promoting these historical sites, we not only honor our past, but also invest in our future. These buildings, as cultural icons, enrich our local communities, fostering a sense of national pride and belonging. In conclusion, the Gabaldon school buildings are not just remnants of history. They are vibrant embodiments of Filipino identity. Their grand architecture and cultural impact remind us of our shared heritage and our collective journey towards progress and sustainability. There is really a need to preserve and celebrate these treasures, ensuring that they inspire and educate future generations of Filipinos.
Gabaldon school buildings paved the way for inclusive formal and informal learning while striving to reach the underserved areas in the Philippines. The design of GSBs offered a conducive learning environment to deliver structured educational programs and support various curricular reforms that adapt to the evolving needs of students and the changing society in general. The modular classrooms provided by these buildings also enhance the implementation of standard and progressive teaching methods. Aside from formal learning, the spacious design of GSBs served as a multi-purpose platform to accommodate informal learning, such as assemblies, so students could interact with their peers, school events for celebratory programs and performances, and extracurricular engagement. These extracurricular activities encourage students to showcase their athletic talents, creativity, and leadership skills. GSBs could hold cultural activities to celebrate local history, traditions, and practices to reinforce community values and collective identity. These buildings also help students develop a sense of civic consciousness and responsibilities by serving as venues to collaborate with local organizations while initiating outreach programs and environmental campaigns. Hence, Gabaldon School buildings functioned as an educational, cultural, and social space for educators and students.
For the last theme, it is about sustainability efforts toward promoting tourism at local and national levels. Gabaldon school buildings can also offer significant opportunities for both local and national tourism. Their impressive architecture and historical significance not only highlight their value as a testament to the enduring educational legacy they provide to the Filipinos, but also underscore their potential role in promoting sustainable tourism. By integrating these heritage sites into tourism efforts, their cultural and historical importance will be preserved while supporting sustainable tourism practices that encourage the development of local communities. By allowing tourists to experience and understand the importance of these buildings, it can drive economic growth, increase awareness of their environmental and cultural importance, and promote community involvement and empowerment, aligning with the main goals of sustainable tourism as mentioned by Gupta et al. 2024. Additionally, if Gabaldon school buildings are integrated into sustainable tourism, the benefits will extend to local communities while minimizing the negative impacts of the tourism industry, which will contribute to long-term cultural, social, and environmental sustainability. Plan to be designated as historical sites, greater attention and resources are needed to achieve this goal. Stakeholders, including government and as stated by the Republic Act 1119 and restoration of Gabaldon school buildings are vital. Supporting their preservation contributes not only
In conclusion, the Gabaldon school buildings, with their grand structure and profound cultural impact, stand as enduring reflections of Filipino identity. By integrating these historical sites into sustainable tourism, we not only preserve our rich heritage, but also stimulate local economies and foster community pride. Continuous efforts to preserve GSBs could provide pedagogical spaces that empower the educational system in the Philippines. By promoting formal and informal learning, GSBs could generate holistic learning opportunities to contribute to the personal growth of students. Integrating GSBs into sustainable tourism will enhance local and national tourism, preserve cultural and historical significance, and support long-term economic, social, and environmental sustainability. Greater resources and attention are needed to conserve and restore these buildings, ensuring their role in promoting sustainable tourism for community development and empowerment.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Dr. Inero Ancho and the team. Again, Ms. Elijah, Andrea Hironella, Ms. Danica J. Sagun, and Mr. Mark Ivan Mendres. The floor is now open for questions or comments about the uh, paper, the presentation. I think the whole team is here.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, sir. Afternoon. Yeah. So questions from the audience? Okay, so until the end, I'll be playing my role. Um, so I must admit I'm not really familiar with the Gabaldon School building. So while I was listening, I made a quick Google search with a specific question: is the H.A. Bordner building from my high school a Gabaldon building? And I got a yes, a resounding yes. No? So I graduated from Manila Science High School. And if you are keeping abreast of at least the current developments, basically our whole school got renovated except H.A. Bordner. And as far as I remember, yeah, no, that that building cannot be touched, quote unquote, no? Because of the National Historical Commission marker. But I never realized it's a Gabaldon school. It's actually more than NHC, NHIC, no? That protects it, no? So maybe my question, I understand, of course, Gabaldon schools, no, are and this whole um discussion of Gabaldon school is just a symptom, maybe a relative microcosm, no, of the larger discussion about urban development as part of conservation, because usually that's what we miss. We want urban development. We have high-rise buildings. We have globalized, but there's this also conservation. So my question, and more really of a curiosity, so how do we make this or how do we realize conservation, for example, in spaces like a highly urbanized city like in Manila? Uh, what maybe policies, advocacies, no, can be possible, maybe based also on your review of the experiences of other because NCR is not just the only highly urbanized city in the Philippines, right? So I again, more of a curiosity. So how can it be realized? What advocacies might be pushed and maybe tackled as well, no? So the likes of Manila Science with its Bordner building might not be in danger at all. Thank
Yes,
you, sir.
thank you very much. I hope I am audible, right? Manila Science is the one along Taft Avenue, right? If you take the LRT, makikita mo ang ganda ng building, ang taas, di ba? Yes, typically, if you're, for example, you're from the province, you graduated from the central school or the national high school, chances are the when you enter the school grounds, the first grand building that you will see is the Gabaldon. That was the old story. Why? Because years later, these were actually demolished and replaced by the recent standard classroom that we have, the cube, the typical classroom. If you watch Netflix and the setting is a Korean high school, usually the facade of the Korean high school will give you the feel, it's in Korea. However, if we look at Gabaldon, it will some sort of time traveling, like, yeah, that's the Philippine high school, especially in the provinces, right? Not only in the city, but actually even in the provinces. Before, unfortunately, it's sad, pero the trend was just to demolish and then replaced with a more practical, because Gabaldon is spacious with a high ceiling and the grand structure. However, with the ever growing student population, I think the government also has to strategize on how we can accommodate and maximize the use of spaces. However, history, identity, and cultural heritage goes with it. Ang gaganda nung pillars and then the story and the history that goes with these buildings. Now, going back to your question, what can we do? How do we actually go forward? The first one is with awareness and campaign. Usually students are actually not aware of these buildings. They just think, oh, that's just the usual building in our school. But actually, if you go to the provinces, you would hear stories how these buildings have educated decades of Filipinos, and withstand World War and history of that local community. Once we are able to raise awareness about these places, students and even people around that school community will begin to appreciate and take pride of the community, that, oh, this is not just a space, but it tells our past. And apparently, because we look back and we give importance to what we have been through, chances are we will be able to appreciate our present and eventually look forward. That's why in 2019, President Duterte's signing of the Republic Act is actually very timely and relevant, because right now efforts are being in place so that people, government agencies, preservation of these Gabaldon school buildings is being institutionalized. Thank you. I don't know if probably other teammates would like to add. Ivan, Danica,
Hello, good afternoon. Uh, when we talk about Gabaldon School buildings, no, in terms of practice, for instance, in rewilding our cities, particularly the highly urbanized areas, of course, we should promote sustainable development. In human ecology, for instance, we focus on the relationship of human and the environment. These environments did not only concentrate on the natural part of our environment, but also on the built environment, physical environment, and our social environment. So, yeah, in rewilding our cities, we should continue to place our efforts in restoring the already built and existing spaces, or in particular buildings, these Gabaldon school buildings in our cities, and even in our rural, even in our rural areas. Ika nga, we should focus on our strengths. We should focus on what we already have to achieve sustainable development for our future.
Just to add, additionally, we can also do that by encouraging our local communities to take part in preserving these buildings. Ayan. So we can involve them through volunteer works and also just simply spreading awareness about their importance. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, Chris, please. Thank you. First, thank you for the responses. Actually, yeah, this is my awareness and education moment. uh, because again, I've been there for quite a while, but it's my first time really to appreciate. And thank you for the presentation, for making me, appreciate definitely, our building there in Taft Avenue. Thank you, Chris. Please.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm really just interested in the how do we go about really the the ecological tourism part of this, because it's one thing to celebrate it as a heritage site, something that is worth preserving, but it's another thing to raise awareness, but it's also another that people, we bring people to these places. And so I don't know if you have an answer to my question, kasi I think it goes a little bit beyond your scope, but parang what would be a good starting point, knowing that, marami naman siya. We have many around us, but how do we highlight this, and how do we bring people there?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. No, I think before we bring people to these Gabaldon sites, no, one possible and probably practical way is to like let the people who use these Gabaldon sites know the importance of that building. Right. Usually because we use it, we are there every day, we just think that, okay, this is just one usual building. But actually, if we make them realize that, no, you know what? Etong building na to, this was built in the 1920s, and even your grandmothers, and even during the World War II, this has happened in this area. And then that way, I am pretty sure people would take pride, no, on their experiences. Usually we go to other places just to appreciate what has happened there, and it amazes us. And imagine if this particular thing happens right at your neighborhood. Imagine the pride and how it would make you feel like really proud of your community and of your history. So I think pwedeng dun tayo magsimula. Within our classrooms, our teachers will be our historians, and eventually our students will be able to tell the story. Thank you. Yes, Elijah, you're raising your hand.
Yes po. Dinig po ba ako?
Yes.
Hello po. Ayun, to add lang din po sa question ni Madam, siguro po to approach doon sa ecological tourism aspect ng Gabaldon School buildings, a good starting point po would siguro involve a few strategic steps po. Siguro first, assessment and documentation, like conducting a thorough assessment po of the existing Gabaldon School buildings right now, and then document their historical, architectural significance, and then second po would be community engagement, because involving local communities in the planning and development process, like that po. Kasi that will ensure po yung tourism initiatives na nag-a-align po siya sa community interests and values. And then, siguro po educational programs, yung pangatlong approach, like developing educational programs po and guided tours that will highlight po the historical, cultural, and ecological importance ng Gabaldon School buildings, ng existing Gabaldon School buildings sa atin. And then that would include po like yung mga interactive exhibits, workshops, or community events po that will foster a deeper understanding and like yung deep appreciation po for these heritage sites, since kino-consider natin siya as heritage sites. And then, syempre, ang pinaka-practical po siguro doon para ma-achieve natin yung mga ganong approach o yung mga ganong vision ay partnerships and funding. Siguro po, ayun, establish po partnerships with government agencies or even non-governmental organizations or private sectors para ma-secure po yung funding and support for the restoration and promotion ng mga heritage sites na ito. And then, ayun po, kapag na-ensure na po yung mga ganong approaches, we can do po marketing and promotion, like creating marketing strategies po that will emphasize yung unique ecological and cultural value ng school buildings na po ito, yung mga Gabaldo. Thank you po.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you, Chris, as well for the question, Elijah, Ancho. I saw Amanda raising their hand a while ago.
Yes po, but is it okay? Do we still have time po, sir?
Yeah, a
Okay.
final minute.
Sure po. Okay. So I think same po with your sentiments. I think this was really interesting because I've never heard about this historical school with a lot of, I also searched it up like while you were talking, and apparently it was also inspired by the architecture of Bahay na Bato and Bahay Kubo, and it's like I'm more interested on why on the tourism aspect of it. Like, yes, it's ecologically important also, but I would like to ask for our speakers, like, what do you think can be done more to like boost the tourism of, this area, and of course of the schools? Because I feel like, ayun nga po, the fact that we didn't know about it means that, oh, even if it was acknowledged by Duterte that it should be conserved, like, why do not a lot of people know about it? And I would like to ask, like, is inyong palagay po, ano kaya magagawa to kind of boost what is known about these schools? Yan lang po.
Hello. Okay, so to answer that question, I think first we really must encourage our schools, our universities, to talk about Gabaldon school buildings, or as well as field trips to those buildings, integrating them also into our curriculum as part of our lessons, and also we can partner maybe with universities to conduct more research projects about them, and also which could involve site visits, interviews, and also um, research. Yes, research. We can conduct research about them.
That's really interesting. Thank you so much.
Elijah, is that
Yes po. Puwede po ba ako mag-add?
sure?
Yes po. Ayun, aside po from, nabanggit ni Teacher Danica na educational outreach, yung mga, like educational programs po, and yung organizing field trips and educational tours, siguro po para po ma-boost yung tourism aspect ng Gabaldon School buildings, pwede po, siguro yung may mga strategies po na pwede ma-implement para ma-increase yung awareness and then makapag-attract ng visitors. Siguro yung enhanced marketing campaigns, yun po, yung digital presence din, i-maximize yung power ng technology. And then bukod po doon yung cultural integration po siguro. Yung mag-integrate po, to integrate cultural experiences such as traditional Filipino cuisine, dances po, or crafts into the tourism offerings. Like, kasi mas may enhance po nun yung overall visitor experience and then provide a deeper connection po sa Filipino culture. Pwede po yan yung mga theme packages. And then, ayun po yung pinaka-practical din, babalik din po talaga tayo doon yung government and NGO support, like seek funding po and grants from government agencies and even NGOs to support po yung promotional activities and preservation efforts. So, yun po yung mga maaari po siguro nating tignan or i-consider to boost yung tourism aspect ng mga heritage sites na ito.
Doc
Yes,
Ancho,
Dr.
please.
Ancho.
Thank you, Elijah.
Yes, before we end, no, usually, pag galing ka ng, if you graduated from a central school or national high school, when you take class pictures, the background is the Gabaldon building. Usually, kagaya na nabanggit ko kanina, when we watch Netflix or drama, no, we look at pag ang setting niya nasa school. Ang ganda naman ng school nila, ang ganda naman ng architecture. Well, hindi na kailangan natin lumayo. Kasi tayo mismo dito, meron, no? Yung concept natin ng rewilding the city, pagbabalik, even in the rural areas, napakayaman. All we have to do is go back to our community and appreciate and actually deliver at ibigay yung ating contribution. Ganito kayaman yung heritage ng Pilipinas, hinihintay lang natin siya na ma-explore. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
I very much like that part. Now, rewilding the city is also very much conserving not only our natural but also our historical resource, our historical yeah, conserving our culture very much. Thank you very much for this presentation. I actually learned a lot personally, and just to add, our first class picture when I was in first year in Masai, it's the Bordner building that was in the background. Now I realize it's that significant. Again, thank you. So that's the last of our presentations today. But before we end, we have our director of the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability, Dr. Eman Delocado, sorry, who also, by the way, is a graduate of Manila Science High School, if I may say, if I may share, na, for his closing remarks or conference synthesis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you found our conference enjoyable and insightful. On behalf of the AUN-EEC Secretariat, I would like to thank you for joining us in the 5th AUN-EEC Conference on Ecological Education and Culture. In this 5th conference, the theme was Rewilding the City. In the plenary session this morning, our moderator, Dr. Nikki Carcy Cruz, shared that the banner theme of AUN-EEC this year is urban sustainability. Earlier this year, in our webinar, we learned about the tensions in the city, namely cultural preservation versus modernity, environmental protection versus economic progress. Despite these tensions, there are intentions to live sustainably in and with the city. We hope that through the keynote lectures this morning, you had some appreciation of how environment and culture can continue to thrive in the city. We thank Dr. Maxine and Dr. Rohaya for being champions of the different but interrelated facets of urban sustainability. The panel discussion provided us a glimpse on the different champions, contexts, and challenges in mainstreaming sustainability in Southeast Asian cities. We learned some nuances of the solutions being presented, and we learned that the rewilding the city is not just about greening the city. It is about building systems and structures that would enable practices to contribute to building a culture of sustainability. Meanwhile, the session this afternoon caters to your own personal interests. Through the 4 sessions, we hope that you had some appreciation of the diversity on ways how we can, individuals from various fields, ranging from natural sciences to education, humanities to engineering, and everything in between, can contribute to rewilding our cities. Special thanks to Mr. Gino Antonio Trinidad for moderating the session and to Mr. Mark Herrera for providing technical support for the session. As we end this conference, we hope to see you in our upcoming events. I invite you to participate in our Instagram Reels competition, which we launched earlier, and our city planning workshop competition happening later this year. Also, to our presenting authors, you may opt to submit the full paper of your presentation so that this can be considered for publication in the special issue of CSID Journal of Infrastructure Development. CSID JID is abstracted and indexed in DOAJ, Crossref, Garuda, WorldCat, Cinta, and Silent. You may submit your papers until the end of September. The Secretariat will also send you an email on this after the conference. Before we end, we would like to request you to evaluate the conference by clicking the link on the chat or by scanning the QR code that will be flashed shortly. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
So thank you to Dr. Delocado. As mentioned, please make sure to answer the evaluation form that is currently being projected in the screen. So you can scan the QR code or go to bit.ly/AUN-EEC 2024 confe-evals. So there. So before I really make you free for what remains of the afternoon, maybe just to request everyone to turn on their videos so we can have our class picture, our photo. No? Mark, you'll be the one to, or will you be the one to get the photo? Thank you.
Yes po. Okay. Game po. 1, 2, 3. Okay po. Thank you.
Again, thank you. Again, the evaluation form is in the chat as well. Again, thank you very much for the presentations. Thank you, Chris, as well. Thank you to all the presenters. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Bye-bye, and have a good day ahead. Good night ahead as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you po.
Thank you for joining us.
Ibu Messi, selamat siang. Terima kasih. Zhang, thank you. Mr. Ivan, thank you as well. Baka yung recording na lang, Chris. We can
Okay,
stop the
yes, I'll
recording.
stop recording.